This video shows the method I use to make dough. Depending on what kind of dough, I will only change a few ingredients, but my method of adding flour gradually, kneading time, and proofing method remains the same. Dough is very versatile. Today I'm making dinner rolls, but I would use exactly the same recipe for bread. Earlier in the day, I made cinnamon buns. All I did differently was to use extra sugar to make the dough sweeter and omitted the vital wheat gluten to keep the dough more tender. I have 1.5 cups of tepid water, and I have a tablespoon of yeast. I use the instant quick rise, and for this recipe, to feed my yeast, I'm going to use some of my own honey. Honey has some natural yeasts in it also, so that's a little bit of bonus. And I'm going to use about a tablespoon, which I have a teaspoon here, so about 3 of them. Oops. So I measure everything except for the flour. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my KitchenAid on to 2. I'll just give that a little mix before I start adding other ingredients. Next I add my oil. I have about 4 tablespoons. And then I'm going to start to add a little bit of flour. It's going to be about 3.5 cups total, but I'll stop when it's ready. Once it gets kind of goopy like a thick pancake batter, then I'm going to add a couple more ingredients. When I make breads, this is for buns, I also add some vital wheat gluten. You can buy it at the health food store. I've got about a tablespoon of that. And then I wait until we get that incorporated before I add the salt. I don't add salt at the beginning because yeast doesn't really like salt. And I'm just going to continue to add flour until I get the consistency I want. While this is kneading, I'll turn the light on in my oven. That brings up the temperature just enough to create a perfect proofing environment. As needed. See how it's all sticking on this side? I have to add more flour. And I'll add it in about 1/4 cup increments. You can see it's starting to pull away cleanly from the bottom. So I'm going to start timing for 5 minutes. I will add a little bit more flour as I feel it's necessary. I can tell it needs a touch more, so I'll add about a tablespoon. seem to be the perfect amount of flour. It's no longer sticking to the bottom. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. I'm going to test my dough. So I'm going to press it with my finger. If it stays in, it hasn't been kneaded quite enough. I want it to spring all the way back. So I'm going to knead it for another minute. We'll try it now. And I like how that's springing back, so I'm going to say that's done. Stand to our side. And it's quite sticky, but it's very soft. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to bother washing my bowl. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. I'll mix that around with my hand. Put my dough in, top side down, and then flip it over so it's all oiled. So I'm looking for this to double in size. So I want it to be about up to the middle of the bowl. I'm just going to cover this with a damp cloth, and I'm going to put it in my oven for at least 45 minutes. Well, it's been 45 minutes. My dough looks great. So I'm going to punch it down. I'm going to put just a little bit of oil on my counter. Dough over there. I don't know if I'll need much flour, but this amount of dough is going to give me 8 really big buns. That's what I'm looking for. So cut it in half again. So that's 8 big buns. And I'll put just a little flour down. So what I'm trying to do is make a dry surface for my soft dough. Well, sometimes I roll in my hand like so. It's nice to do it on the counter as well. Just make a circle with your hand, make a C with your hand, and then just roll in a circle. And I want it a little bit flatter, so I'll flatten it out a bit and then put it on the cookie sheet. When my surface gets a little bit too oily for it to smooth in, then I'll grab a little bit of flour. Here's a look at my buns. I'll cover them with that same damp towel and I will proof them for about 30 minutes. I have about 5 minutes left to proof, but I wanted to take them out of the oven so that I could preheat it to 350. And these are looking fantastic. I had these baking at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. Took them off and put them on a wire rack and covered them with a towel. And now to try one, because you have to have them when they're warm. These really were fantastic buns. I hope that you give this a try. Thank you for watching.